Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good day. Welcome to another edition of Parenting Today. Parenting in the new age, millennium and beyond is what we talk about, alhamdulillah. And as always, we go back to the roots of our Quran and Sunnah and allow that to guide us how to best parent our children for the best of the community and our ummah at large, inshallah. I'm Hawa Solomon. Stay with me for the next hour as we talk about narcissism. And to introduce the show, we will be having just a tidbit of information from Dr. Zureida Ali Khan, who is a psychiatrist in adolescents and young children. She is based out in New Zealand, but let's hear what she has to say.
So I've been asked to do a quick fire video on narcissism. The concept of narcissism is not new, but it's actually quite a common trait that all of us share. So narcissism is healthy, but it exists on a spectrum from healthy to pathological, and it's the pathological narcissism that's an issue. So we all have a sense or a need for validation, and a sense of self-importance and a need for admiration. It's when this becomes excessive and to the detriment of interpersonal relationships that it becomes an issue. So narcissistic personality disorder is the real issue. So personality is our pattern of relating to ourselves and to others. Personality disorder is when there's a pathological pattern of relating to ourselves and others, resulting in interpersonal issues and interpersonal pain and relational issues. So narcissistic personality disorder is excessive need for admiration, grandiose thinking about oneself, thinking you are unique and special. You also have a sense of entitlement, and you can be quite haughty and arrogant to the exclusion of everybody else's feelings. The sense of entitlement is so grand that you have no empathy for the need of others, and that's when it becomes an issue. We never diagnose narcissistic personality disorders in developing children or adolescents, but you can see it developing in an adolescent. And at certain times of our lives, it's normal to be narcissistic. And adolescence is quite a narcissistic period. It's when this doesn't resolve well because the person isn't managed or isn't feeling secure in their interpersonal relationships during childhood development, that they develop a defense mechanism and a defensive pattern of having that need met in their adult relationships. And this is where narcissistic personality disorder comes from. So it's an excessive need for admiration, a unique sense of self-importance, excluding the needs of others, and a sense of entitlement and lack of empathy that hurts other people in the relationship. And you can see where that is going to be an issue and why it's maladaptive. So this is just a summary. There's a lot more to discuss, and we can maybe look at it as a separate topic at some time if needed.
Thank you so much to Dr. Zureida Ali Khan for that introduction on narcissism. Now, to continue the show on the topic, narcissism and children, is this a trait? Is this a personality? Is this a disorder? We'll find out more as we chat to registered counsellor from Happy Confident Me, Shenaaz Moos. And let's welcome her all the way from Cape Town, Western Cape. Assalamu alaikum to you, Shenaaz, and welcome to Hilaal TV.
Wa alaikum salam, Hawa. Shukran for having me.
Absolute pleasure chatting to you. I love your post as you inform us as parents, as you introduce certain things that we weren't quite aware about our children. But just tell us about the work that you do and the workshops that you hold.
Yeah, I started Happy Confident Me in 2013, focusing on emotional intelligence in children. And it went well, and the workshops for kids about self-esteem and understanding their feelings, just basic new kinds of workshops actually that weren't happening in the community, the Muslim community or any community even. I soon realized that parents needed support as well, and I started launching parenting workshops. So I run a few of those, emotionally connecting to your child, conscious parenting, since 2016. Recently, I've added a little bit more to my portfolio and an online school called the Self-Mastery Institute to further develop adults, incorporating both online learning and online therapy together. So that's what I've been up to in the last few years. I love working with families and supporting them in any possible way to grow and nurture each other, inshallah.
Oh, brilliant, mashallah. So anybody listening to us across the lands and over the beautiful seas, anywhere in Africa and beyond, they can connect with us via www.hilaal.tv, and then we'll give Shenaaz details at the end of the show as well. Maybe you might just need some help out in the States or in Saudi or in the Middle East, who knows? Shenaaz, it's quite an interesting concept that we're looking at, because often this, for me, it's a new thing. Narcissism is something that I've heard about in adults, narcissistic behavior. Is it possibly a disorder? But just explain to us quickly, what does narcissism mean?
So I think that it's like one of those words that just get thrown around a little bit too much, and in ways that aren't always conducive to another person to be labeled. So the word actually has its roots in the Greek god Narcissus. He was really, really self-absorbed, which is a trait.
Okay.
He was enamored with himself. He felt he was better than anyone else, and he wanted to be adored and worshipped above all else. So there's an element of that in the characteristics of being a narcissist. But being a narcissist, having the traits of it, which we all do, by the way, there's a portion of us, there's a portion of our personality and character that has to have narcissism in it as a means of self-protection. Right?
Okay.
Then there's the balance of it, which is the empath side of us that realizes it cannot always be about us. So people have to understand that you can't just throw around the word narcissist. We all have the traits within us. And then there's a narcissistic personality disorder known as NPD, which is a different thing entirely. So often people throw the word around thinking it's just describing someone who's really selfish and self-absorbed and entitled. But it's a delicate word, and it shouldn't just be misused, especially when it comes to describing your own child.
And often it's used in a negative light. So is it something negative to portray?
Well, like I said earlier on, it depends on what are we talking about. Because anytime for instance, this is a parenting show, so we were focusing on parenting. Anytime your child does something that you don't like or isn't concerned with others, you want to say you're such a narcissist to the child, in not understanding that children need to have narcissist traits, because as younger kids, there's an element of it in terms of them protecting themselves. You have to outgrow it, but I guess that we'll get to those questions later on. But for now, it is not something that is all one thing or all another. We don't know what it looks like because we haven't studied it, and we also don't know much about our own child development of our children, where they are. So with their brain development, their cognitive and emotional states and abilities, we don't know what they can and can't do. So what we are seeing as a selfish behavior may just be developmental, like they can't actually share or look beyond themselves. So it's always important as a parent, and I do that with my clients who are parents and in workshops, to teach you what your 2-year-old can and can't do, comprehend, understand, and follow through with, as well as 3, 4, 5. So every time you move up in age, obviously you're getting more of one thing and less of another. So having that understanding, even a year apart between your kids, they are completely different capabilities, tied in with temperament as well, which will influence it. So we as parents, we don't always have this knowledge. We are at a disadvantage.
Yeah. So alhamdulillah, shukr, with shows like this, may us as parents absorb and come with the correct understanding to take beyond when we are starting to label our child that could be possibly a narcissistic state, and how we need to deal with it so that the child doesn't possibly become a narcissist, if I understand it correctly. So you're saying that these traits are found in both in children and adolescents. It is how we as parents take it forth.
Yeah, and so there's some of us will have it to some extent, and some of us will have it to an extreme. So it traits like general. So narcissism is that it's not a disorder on its own. It's a way of being, right? Okay. But narcissistic personality disorder is something that is diagnosed, and we don't diagnose that in children under the age of 18. You can't give a child that label clinically if they are under the age of 18. They may have the traits with them, and it's quite strong and it grows. But when someone's going to diagnose it, they're going to have to see when are far back. So most kids will outgrow the narcissistic traits by puberty. If it stays with the child after puberty, that's when you are going towards that possible disorder diagnosis. But like general symptoms or types of behaviors of narcissistic personality disorder is like an arrogance, a sense of superiority. You belittle others. You desire to only associate people you see as superior, right? So that you feel entitled to something that other people don't. You struggle with envy, excessive need to be admired and have all the attention on you. You don't think twice about exploiting other people.
Sure.
You have extreme negative emotions. So you're always in the state of anger, frustration. There's this negative energy about you all the time. And so but your lack of emotion. So when you respond to other people's emotion, you don't have any empathy. You want your negative emotion and your anger and everything to be addressed one way, but you don't return the favor to somebody else. There's an extreme sense of self-importance and talent and achievement. You sort of inflate your capabilities, you know. You have a company, for instance, you're an adult, like a 6-month-old company, but you've been saying, I've been doing this for years, or I'm an expert in the field. So I'm no expert in the field. I'll tell you exactly when I started and where I am, because that's me. I choose to do that. But when you're dealing with somebody, you have this sense and you feel a little bit uncomfortable around the person, but you're not actually sure why. And when you listen to some of these things, you'll actually see other traits, including the feeling of that they're unique, that there isn't anyone else like them. But there's a lot of hidden insecurities often with NPD. People appear super confident, super sure of themselves, but deep down, there's also a lot of insecurity and shame. And my favorite, of course, is perfectionism that sometimes creeps in, this desire to have everything exactly the way you want. And then this negative reaction when it doesn't turn out the way you want, just fall short of perfection. So that's like a long list of traits of narcissistic personality disorder.
So that's an actual disorder and condition that people are diagnosed, young adolescents are diagnosed with at 18, but we do not want our children to get to that point. So inshallah, with Shenaaz Moos, our registered counselor, will guide us as parents how we can better captivate our children, the fitrah that they were born with, and take it beyond. And if that possibly that behavior, as she mentioned, that long list possibly does actually come to the fore, how we can better handle it. More with Shenaaz Moos just after the break. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Narcissistic behavior, narcissistic personality disorder, narcissism is what we're talking about. And is this even possible in a child, in a young adolescent? We have discovered that yes, we all absolutely have this trait. It's how it becomes inflated and how we best control it, and how we as parents help our children diminish this possible negative condition, challenge, character trait, and move it in a more positive light. Online, we have Shenaaz Moos, who joins us from Cape Town in the southern suburbs, Western Cape, as she chats to us rather, how we as parents can help identify this within our child and what help they and ourselves would need. Welcome back, Shenaaz. So, narcissistic personality disorder. You said it so well. MPD. I'm going to go with the acronym. All right. So let's help us understand how we as parents can possibly watch out for some of these signs, because we know, yes, we have it, our children do have it, and how, especially at the young teenage phase where they're trying to find themselves and also the terrific 2 stage, how we can start from young already to help a child not hopefully go through the entire childhood and in the adolescence as well. So what are some of the signs and character traits that we can watch out for and just aid it and help it along the way positively?
Okay, so obviously, you know, besides, you could hear some of the things I was telling about are just specific to adults, but then there are things that are specific to children. And one of the first ones would be compromised friendships, the quality of the friendships, or the way the child changes friends all the time, or the relationship interactions just with other people. And I mean, I saw this play out myself one weekend, and as I read the notes, it occurred to me what was actually going on. And the child was about 3 or 4. But she kept on calling adults to come outside and reprimand the other children, saying they wouldn't let her play. But I had seen through the window that she was playing and she had gotten a turn, and then it wasn't her turn.
Okay.
She would go inside, fetch a different adult, but it was interesting because she fetched different adults each time.
Wow.
Not the same person. So I didn't intervene because this is when it comes to family, you don't.
But you also need to play it out to see what happens actually. Yeah. So what did happen?
The thing is,
Tell me.
I noticed it, but it didn't make sense until I was reading the notes preparing for today that that's actually what had taken place. But remember, as a 4-year-old, this is just a trait.
Okay.
This is a narcissistic trait, part of child development. It isn't like, oh my word, this child's, because she's generally a sweet child, other than that I saw. So it's about looking at the full context of the child, not once-off behavior or a once-off incident. This is repeat.
Okay.
So the other signs to look for is excessive sensitivity to criticism or loss.
Okay.
They never want to lose a game. They don't want to hear where their weak points are, where they can improve. Obviously, I'm talking about being given in a constructive, loving way to a child, not in the perfectionist, critical kind of parenting way.
Or even shouting.
For teenage kids, that excessive social media posting, especially images. Now, how do we discern this one? Half the teens only post of themselves, so I don't know how we're going to go. But I mean, this is now, one of the things that, like, I've seen people's feed where the entire feed is just them. Does that make them a narcissist? I don't know, but are we talking about kids now? And because I think social media should be about what you're interested in, what is fun for you. That's how I think a healthy social media post should look like, or feed should look like. The expectation of special treatment from parents or other caregivers. You want to be the special one. We want family members to say that you are the favorite, that you are chosen. That's also a common thing kids do. Those of us with multiple kids know that our kids ask that. I mean, my kids are 2 adults and a teenager, and they still want to know which one is the favorite. But obviously, there's an energy to it that is normal, fun, and teasing, and then there's a darker energy too, to asking the same question or needing the same kind of information. Checking mirrors frequently, inability to maintain eye contact, lack of friends. So not just having compromised friendship quality, just not having any friends at all. Another sign is learning difficulties, but not related to the child. Child's quite bright, highly intelligent, but they are struggling with learning difficulties. So you find that a kid has a lot of toys, for instance, but they have no interest in their toys. And you keep buying more things, but that's actually what they're looking for. Lying as a form of justification, but lying and you have no remorse. So when you get caught out, you don't feel bad. You just feel like you had to lie. Suspiciousness, there's something about this child that doesn't, you're always wondering what this child's up to, and not where you like find my iPhone, where you track your child kind of suspiciousness. Just their general behavior leaves you feeling unsettled. And then the last one would be tantrums. So yes, there's terrible 2s, there's, I don't know what you call 3s and 4s, but those of us with teenagers know that's also a tantrum phase. So when we're looking at tantrums outside of what's normal in an age development and in a frequency, those kinds of things. So obviously not only one of those that I've listed, but a combination of those.
So we understand that it's an elevated sense of some and all of those. Is that linked to the causes of the narcissistic personality disorder?
Strangely, there's no cause. The weird thing is that, yes, it would be so easy to blame, where if you know the root cause, we can eradicate it, but it's not as simplistic as that. If we would really do away with a lot of evil in the world if we could just go to the root cause. So there's no cause that's especially that anyone can pinpoint. However, there's a belief that biological factors like genetics, right, and environmental factors play an influence. So what falls into the sphere of environment? The parents, the community where the child's based in, the social environment that the child is being raised in. All of these are part of environmental factors.
So how can we as parents then look at, without that being the causes or any sort of trauma or egging on a possible narcissistic behavior, is it, for instance, that I'm going to get something right from this one parent and I keep on and I keep on, and there isn't that positive reassurance or a positive guide to, sort of diminish that negative trait? I know that you said there's no causes, but is there a possibility that that could run to adolescents and say, oh no, I've been getting it right for years. I can get it right now with my wife, with my colleagues, with my community members?
Okay, just repeat the question. I've mixed it up in my head
Okay,
now.
sorry.
The question?
It's exactly a personality trait that has come from adolescence, from a young age.
Right.
You got it right with all your parents. With your parents and the people around you. And in fact, they've enabled you to then use that personality trait, which was a possible negative trait. I'm just trying to think of one specifically that you said, like blaming others, for instance, and you trying to say, no, it is that one. And for the rest of your life, you get told, no, it's always everybody else's fault, but not your fault. So you try and use that trait right up until you're an adult. And in fact, you use it in your in your work environment, in your home environment, and with your family growing up now. So does that role play somewhere that the role that the parent did play? As you said, it's the community, it's the environment, possibly that being the narcissistic trait that develops.
Yeah, obviously the parenting style and you as a parent play a massive role in the shaping. So you can you overinflate your child's sense of value to themselves and to everyone else. So you make this child feel so self-important, and there's a balance between making your child feel special and making your child feel as if they are like the gift to the entire world. They are the next best everything. So I think that often some people may be trying to make their children feel good about themselves, but not know where the line is, because they themselves weren't nurtured healthily in their childhood as growing up. So they don't know what that looks like, which is why I teach parenting workshops, to teach people what it looks like, to find that balance between being nurturing, but drawing boundaries between what is okay and what's not okay. So when you find that people, up until today, the parents want to hear nothing about them or any of their shortcomings because it's not in their field of awareness. No, that can't be true. My son, speaking, I was actually watching the Ted Bundy movie, and his mother says, my son is a good son. I mean, he was a massive, insane serial killer, completely, totally pathological. But his mother says with a straight face that he is a good son, that all these women are lying, and okay, they're all dead, most of them. But my point is, she refused to believe a single bad thing. Now, you can imagine if that is her now with her adult child who has done all this harm, she never saw him, any of his negatives, as a negative. So, and you don't actually know what other toxic parenting behaviors may have taken place as well during the childhood. So that there's a lot of factors that influence children, right? Trauma factors that are outside of their control, like the death of a parent or caregiver when parents divorce. And also having narcissistic parents yourself. So you are being raised by a narcissistic parent. This is being modeled for you. I've seen lots of people in therapy in adulthood who were raised by narcissistic parents, but they didn't become narcissists. They themselves received all the damage that comes from trying to get love from a narcissist. So they actually always doubt themselves. There's a whole lot of string of behaviors that come from being raised by a narcissist parent. So if you don't turn out like one, you then have the damage that's done. And so either way, being surrounded by narcissism or narcissistic parent doesn't serve any of the children, irrespective of which way they take that shaping, either to become one or suffer from the damage of one and all the trauma that goes with that too.
Okay, brilliant answer. Shukran so much, Shenaaz. Okay, let's take a short break. When we come back, we deal more with one-on-one with parents when they have had experience, have seen this within their child, how they can deal with it and move forward positively. More with Shenaaz Moos, Happy Confident Me, just after the short break. Back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good day to you. Please do follow us on our various social pages. If you have any questions, comments, and queries about narcissism, narcissistic behavior, narcissistic traits, please do send it through to us and we'll try and deal with it as they come through, inshallah. And remember to tell your friends, families, and even possibly colleagues around the world and across the beautiful seas to live stream right now if they'd like to watch the show live on www.hilaal.tv. Otherwise, you can watch it on DSTV platform 347. Online, we have founder of Happy Confident Me, registered counsellor Shenaaz Moos joining us online. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back, Shenaaz. Okay, very, very interesting topic, narcissism, narcissistic behavior, narcissistic personality disorder. This has been thrown around loosely, in adults, in conversations, but we need to understand where it does arise in children and how we can possibly positively move forward to stop that trait so it doesn't become an actual disorder. So let's look at, and we've understood that there isn't a specific cause, but yet the child's possible parenting skills that they experience, the environment that they're exposed to, and also a narcissistic parent could move into a disorder for this child as well. So understanding the traits that the child picks up. So if my child has an elevated sense of self, you've mentioned the pictures, you've mentioned, oh, I, me, and I, what's it, me, myself, and I type of thing. And the narcissistic, we want to also talk about the narcissistic parent and how children can deal with that. But let's quickly grab the bull by the horns and say, listen, this child's 2-3 years old, as you experience as young as that. They are so clever because they're trying the playing field, they're trying the ground, moving a different, that was such a beautiful example actually, because we don't pick up on that. And then often we say, oh, that's so funny. Look what this child did. In that case, as an advice to parents, what would you advise, Shenaaz?
The one thing that we are getting wrong, I think, is we are creating entitled children. So the first thing would be to minimize entitlement. The fact that we can give our children more and the best of everything doesn't mean we should actually give them more, because you find they don't have an appreciation or an understanding of the value of things. I mean, you'll see young kids walking around with tablets and iPads and they just, casually, whether it's the parents or theirs, it doesn't matter. But you'll see that they don't treat it with the respect that it actually needs. And also don't give your kids, I know I teach love languages and gifts is a love language, but gifts isn't about expensive things. So you limit the amount of gift giving of extravagance, and rather do like an exchange of earning whatever it is you're going to buy or getting credit towards something. So you've actually worked for whatever it is that you are wanting. You will treat it differently. So there's not an entitlement. I want it, I need it, which is too much of that. You hear it in the shop all the time. And a second tip would be to balance the ego. So as much as you want to praise your child, you need to balance the ego and teach them that we as Muslims know this about equality, that we are not better. Having better doesn't make you better. Having more doesn't make you more of a Muslim. It is about balancing that. Having the best of everything doesn't make you better than another person. So teaching children about the ego. And that would be a lesson for parents as well. How do you balance your ego? Do you wait 2 years when your contract's over before you get a new phone? Can you wait, or must you have the best phone before everyone else? The third thing would be to model empathy. You know what? One of the biggest signs of a narcissist is their lack of empathy for others. Most people actually lack empathy for themselves. I'm teaching self-compassion a lot now to kids and to adults. Self-compassion is actually more of a sustainable kind of skill. than teaching just self-esteem. Teach self-compassion first. And that's what I've been doing in the last year or two, because that's that building ground for genuine self-love, not pretend self-love, because there is such a thing.
Yeah.
So the empathy thing, it's really a big thing. We need to, and children learn compassion, how we show compassion towards them. And when we force children to apologize or say they're sorry for something when they're not, we're teaching them to fake it.
Yeah.
I hate when people do that. Don't make kids apologize when they don't understand what they did wrong.
Yeah.
So that was something to think about. There's a few more that I can list. I don't know if we
please go ahead. I think this is these parenting tips, and I'm so glad I was able to get you to do a show, because we're loving your parent tips as you affording us the time and the videos you're sending us. So as they come, alhamdulillah, we as parents need to learn and grow from coming back to say, listen, I'm sorry, I need to apologize, or I just shouted, I lost it, and it's okay, instead of doing what you do and then you walk away and that child actually thinks that's okay for an adult to react and behave that way.
No, obviously that's not modeling and behavior. I mean, we want children to understand that as parents we are human and we are flawed.
Yeah.
And that I model everything that I would like you to have. I must have it first. I must show genuine remorse when I've hurt your feelings. I must take the time and effort to come and apologize to you. And sadly, most Muslim homes are still raising their kids with traditional parenting, which is a top-down. I'm the parent, I have all the power.
Yeah.
You are the child, you have no power. So I tell you what to do, how to do it, and you have no say. And this is not a healthy way to that's why I think in adulthood, most people, especially Muslim women, lack boundaries. They weren't allowed to develop healthy boundaries in childhood. So now they let people walk all over them. They say yes to everything that doesn't serve them, because it's just a follow through from that's its own show. But
I was going to say now that we often don't know why and when and how come we are the way we do, because the way we are, and then we blame ourselves again. Then it's again anger turned towards us. So coming back to this behavior and accepting that this is what happened to us as a child from our parents, and also accepting that your parents did the best that they knew how at that time. And instead of blaming and thinking that, going back, because it's a healing. And the more we talk about it and shows like this to educate ourselves, it's a healing for us to actually now live the true life that we're supposed to and move forward. So narcissistic behavior does actually come up in that possible trait, and then we think it's okay. So for parents, and I think for yourselves, I'm sure, Shenaaz, dealing with clients, patients on different levels, you pick up on this, and then they question, but like, why, how? And how important is it, and sort of to come back on narcissistic behavior, how important is it when you as a parent can't handle something that you actually seek help?
It's important, because often people find their child is acting out and they end up in my therapy space because of the child's behavior. But soon it turns out to be, an intergenerational thing. And it's so cute and scary when I ask kids to tell me about the relationship that their mother has with her mother. So if it's a young girl, man, and then she's instantly, oh, my mother and my granny don't even talk. And it's like, no, or it's a boy and he says, no, my dad and my grandfather and my dad are very cross with each other, or whatever it is, that the child has observed already that father-son, mother-daughter pattern. And the skills that you lack as a parent is because you didn't get what you need from their parent. If you go back again, it just carries on. And it's not about, like you said, judging. It's about, there's an infamous meme all over the place about breaking the cycle. Are you going to be the one? And breaking the cycle that has existed before only requires that you take that first step forward of ownership. That I actually am hurting my child and myself by my behavior, and I don't want to do it anymore, and stepping forward. And I do the workshops because it's an easier way for people to learn a new way of being. If they want to up their level, individual sessions, it's more intense. It's very personalized, almost like the spotlight right on you. And when people are ready for that, they reap the reward of that intensive kind of evolution that takes place.
But you've got more to say. I think we jumped a bit,
Yes,
Shenaaz.
you know me, and you can take me off track, and I'm already 4
But
trains away from where we
before
started.
you go back on track, I want to take a break, and when we come back, so we can conclude and hopefully go through the rest, find out what is gaslighting. I haven't even heard of it now. It's also again just thrown it down like narcissism. We want to talk more and expound on narcissism with the treatments. You as a parent, how you can influence positive parenting through this negative trait that your child might have. And as we spoke earlier, it's not something that your young toddler or teenager could even possibly be suffering from, have this condition, narcissistic personality disorder. It is diagnosed much later. So we, alhamdulillah, with shows like this, let's understand it and take it further positively. Back in a moment. Don't go anywhere with Shenaaz Moos. Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum. My last few minutes as we wrap up narcissistic behavior, narcissistic personality disordered or the narcissism. I just like speeding through this because we want to get as much information as possible in the show. And remember, if you've missed the show, the upload of it will be on YouTube the very next day. Let's get back to registered counsellor Shenaaz Moos, based out in southern suburbs, Western Cape Town. So Shenaaz, we wanted to add still more you have to your list with regards to parenting positively to prevent narcissism.
Yes, do we still have time to even get to those points? I wasn't sure with us
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. So the other thing is that attention, man. Kids, narcissistic kids or narcissistic strengthed kids want attention, right? Yeah. And when we give attention to them, it's like they'll do anything to get attention, even bad behaviors. Okay. So we need to make sure that when we do give attention, we are rewarding positive. We are feeding the positive in them. Otherwise, we'll grow the negative in them. And also attention within reason. If you've got more than one child and you know that one child that wants the center of the stage, that would have been me growing up, one of 5. But there's always
I'm glad you admitted to that.
Because it's a middle child thing also. It's a middle child thing, you know, that being in the middle, you're often forgotten, which is another word for middle children, by the way. So you have to carve your way.
Yeah, but you did it at least. Others just disappear in it, yeah.
But you carve your way out to make a name for yourself. So your narcissistic element is quite strong when you're young. Okay. Because because of that, I was able to carve a way out and make sure I was seen and heard. But that isn't the case for everyone. And so the other thing we do as parents that is not good for our kids is we rescue them. Yeah. So when we keep rescuing them from their mistakes, so this also creates that feeling of entitlement, you know, that they won't be held accountable for their errors, that children need to experience natural consequences so they learn what happens when I'll never forget, my daughter forgot her project, and after saying 5 times, she was in grade 5, pick it up, don't forget your project. We're in the car, we get to school. She forgot it. I didn't take it back. She called me the worst mother ever. She phoned me during break time. Mommy, can you please bring it? I will lose 5%. So I said, I'm sorry. It was very hard for me, but she never forgot her projects after that. But the whole point was I was saying repeatedly about the project. I put it on the table as you walk out the door, everything I did. And it was a lesson for her.
How long did she hate you after that?
Don't ask her to answer.
That's traumatic.
And my youngest, I also let him go without his lunch.
It's so hard for us to do that.
Yes.
It's so hard for us.
The skills to be learned by a child through them experiencing natural consequences, but it actually hurts us sometimes more than them.
Yes, it does.
Which is why we rescue our kids too often, and we don't let them experience natural consequences, which is part of their shaping of their character.
It is, yeah.
We are actually short-circuiting that. And so here's a hard one. Everybody says, I love my kids unconditionally, yet we show our love in conditions when they excel, when they make us look good, when they make us look bad as parents. We don't show the same kind of love towards them. And what about when you have a child who excels academically and one that doesn't? Yeah. One who is amazingly talented at sport and one that isn't. How do you balance your love between children that don't show the same skill set? And most people, Andre, they think they're being equal, but you aren't. Unconditional love is I love you because you're my child, because Allah has gifted you to me. There isn't a greater gift than that. The end. Nothing more, nothing less.
Very
There's
true.
nothing you need to do as a child to get your parents' love. You just need to be their child. Now, how hard is that one?
Yeah,
How hard
true.
is that one when we have an idea of the child, the ideal child, the fantasy child? And guess what? When our children fall short, our ugly comes out,
Very
our
true.
dragon comes out,
Yeah.
our anger monster comes out. We don't always show our best side when they make us look bad in our perception as parents. Children aren't trophies, and they're not supposed to win things so that you get peer recognition, parental peer recognition. And consistent parenting is also a big thing. You can't be passive one day. Oh, yes, have ice cream before or supper. The next day, you're screaming like a crazy person that they're going to get rotten teeth and they're going to be overweight. And, yesterday it was fine. What happened today? So your erratic behavior, right, is confusing for children, and it actually causes them to grow in the narcissistic traits.
Okay.
So they learn that you can't be rational. They can't depend on you to be rational. They can only depend on themselves. And this causes an egocentric behavior and a disregard for authority. You are not reliable, mommy. I can't trust you. Okay, right. Moving on. And you reinforce this every day by one day this way, the next day you react completely opposite to the same behavior from the child or the same request. And the last point is enforce consequences. That if you see your child behaving like a bully or exploiting other children or even siblings, not doing anything that, serves the family unit in healthy ways, right? Step in. Don't actually let them get away with it. That you as a parent are accountable for that. And what people think is cute when kids are small, somehow when they're 7 and 8 isn't cute anymore. So be careful what you are finding funny at 2 and 3. That won't be funny at 7 and 8.
Something very interesting you brought in there, and it's often we as adults now that we realize and grow, is our nafs and our ego, and how it's linked to being not just a Muslim, but also being a human being, and coming down to that trait for others to see, because often they see Islam through an Arab or an Indian. And then I got the other day, somebody said, oh, I didn't know all Indians weren't Muslim. When they said, oh, I'm Muslim. And then they said, no, oh, that means that you're Indian. We said, no, you're not Indian. Anyway, so the point is that often we show the rest of the world through our ego, through our nafs, how Islam is. So let's just quickly touch on, before we wrap up and everything, let's touch on us as Muslims and how we meant to behave, firstly, when we follow the Prophet ﷺ, and through Quran and these beautiful explanations that you've given, that we do not have that possible narcissistic behavior.
Sure, that's not an ending of question. That's a hard, long question. How are we supposed to be? I think a lot of the times, all the things that we should be embodying are based in watching our ego. And I mean, because I teach consciousness things, I teach ego, how to understand your ego, how to balance out your sense of self, and watching your judgment is one of those things, and judgment is very much linked in us as a feeling superior, that we as Muslims need to accept others as they are, and I think that was one of the best ways the Prophet ﷺ showed up as a human being. He had this pure acceptance of others, not like, oh, you're a leper, oh, you're a king. No, it was like this plateau of acceptance of people for where they were, as they were. And I think that a lot of us don't even begin to come close to that acceptance, because that acceptance starts in the home of us, how we were accepted as children. And not comparing one version to another version, but I'm accepting you as you are, but I'm accepting your sister as she is. And it's both of you okay as you are. That ability to be at ease with what is one of the hardest things that I think people struggle with.
Accepting, alhamdulillah. That's so important with starting in your household as well. Accepting your child. Our children are different colors, different creeds, different ways. They're all different. So we need to start in our home, inshallah. Shenaaz, before you go, one quick question. What is gaslighting? Please explain.
You wanted to squeeze that. You didn't want to leave that one out.
What is gaslighting,
It's also
please?
another one of those words just thrown around recklessly.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a rehabilitation boot camp for words that have been abused and have been
please,
misused
I want to join.
and thrown around. It's only for words. It's not for people.
Oh, no.
And
okay.
Narcissism and gaslighting are words like that. Inner child healing, all these words are thrown around without people truly comprehending the deep nature and how to use them properly. So gaslighting is a manipulative tactic used by a narcissist. Why? They want to gain power over somebody else. They'll plant seeds of uncertainty in somebody's mind, right? So this is going to grow self-doubt and constant questioning. You constantly question your reality. Is this happening to me? But is it real? So even though what's happening to you is partially real, you have a sense of almost like you're losing your mind. Because so for instance, a person who's a narcissist behaves in one way in front of other people, strangers, and a different way in front of those close to them. So when you try to tell someone, oh, so and so, I think my husband's a narcissist, people, oh, he's such a nice guy, he's so friendly, so helpful, and then you feel like you're crazy, but that's not my husband. Is it just me? Is he just behaving this way towards me? And they're so clever. It's like a mask that they pull on and off. And the gaslighting tactic is only used selectively. So the moment they get to gaslight people they're trying to fool, then quickly the mask is going to fall off. So it's not like they pull out gaslighting at every opportunity, and they use your own words against you. The thing with that is you said something, but they'll use it in a way that it works against you. So now you're wondering, but I did say that, so maybe it is true. So you can actually see how gaslighting is like you know how you have a skill set, man, and you take out whatever you need. In the olden days, like a math set, man, you had all those little things, and you take out whatever tool that you need. So narcissists, one of their favorite tools is taking out the gaslighting because it's so effective. Because it makes the person who's questioning their integrity, but you're not a good person. You didn't doubt yourself because only I see this, only I believe in this, and there's normally outrage on their part. How dare you question my integrity? But you know a side of them because of the gaslighting and the other things that other people actually don't know. So it's really about messing with somebody's mind. So that's really at the core of it.
That's best put it, messing with someone's mind, actually. Thank you so much, Shenaaz, and that's where we have to leave it. And please don't now go and break down everybody's conversation. This is not to our viewers. Don't break down everybody's conversation. Am I being gaslit by this person? Shenaaz, Moos, happy, confident me. Always a pleasure, and we'll definitely see you soon within your next video on Parenting Today. We will leave your contact details and how people can reach you as well at the bottom of the screen. But it was a pleasure chatting to you. I hope we can do it soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. There we have it, Shenaaz Moos, happy, confident me. She's available on various social media pages, and we will leave her details. Please do contact us. Next show will be on profiling a maternity home, so please join us for that. It is called Birth on 5th, so join us for the next show. From myself, Hawa Solomon, wassalamu alaikum, and goodbye for now.